Imagine having your entire birthday canceled just because you have a golden child sister who has her little vacation canceled. Oh, well, since her vacation is canceled, my birthday has to be canceled because I can't go and enjoy myself if she's not enjoying herself, and you won't get it. My parents actually agreed to this. Well, you know what? I can't just sit back and just allow this to keep happening to me. I have to either move out, stand on my 2 feet, or do something that has to do with revenge.
Have you ever felt that you were invisible? Like you could disappear for days and no one in your family would even notice or heck, even care. That's how I felt my entire life. I'm June and I'm 17 years of age. In a few days, I'll be turning the age of 18. An age most people consider to be a milestone, something special. A day that signifies you're finally stepping into adulthood. For me, this birthday was supposed to be important not because I'm turning 18, but because for the first time I thought my parents actually cared enough to do something for me. But now I'm not sure, and honestly I'm heartbroken. It's difficult to explain how I got there without first explaining my family dynamics. I'd say it's safe to say that I've never been the favorite. That title has always been belonging to my sister, Mia. She's always been the golden child, the one my parents doted on, absolutely admired and praised endlessly. She was that perfect one, beautiful, popular, confident. Everything I wasn't. And for as long as I can remember, that's why, the way things were. My parents treated Mia like she could do no wrong. While I was just, there, the invisible daughter, the one who did not matter quite as much, and when I was younger, I was sick a lot. I had asthma and a weak immune system, so I could not do a lot of things the other kids did. I was indeed the fragile one, the one who always needed to be protected and taken care of. And because of that, my parents were stricter with me. I get it. But what I don't get is why they chose to use that as an excuse to ignore me emotionally. They were always too busy praising Mia for her grades, her sports, her friends, and me? Well, I was just the sick kid they had to be careful with, the one who could not be expected to achieve much. As I grew older, I started to realize just how deep their favoritism went. Mia was spoiled rotten. She got everything she wanted, from the newest phone to expensive clothing to vacations with her friends. My parents never said no to her, and because of this, Mia grew into someone who was selfish, entitled, and someone who did not care about how anyone else felt. She never cared about me, not once, and it was always about her, and my parents allowed that. I was always the one making compromises, stepping aside so Mia could just have her way. But I tried to cope. I told myself it didn't matter. I convinced myself that maybe one day things would change. Maybe one day my parents would see me, care about me, and treat me like I mattered too. I spent years hoping for that, but it never came. And yet, as my 18th birthday approached, something in me thought this time, just maybe it could be different. This time they might actually do something for me for once. A few months ago, I asked my parents if I could have a big birthday bash. Not just like a small one, but a big party with friends, music, decorations, the whole shebang. It was a bold request, especially coming from someone who's used to being overlooked. But to my surprise, they agreed. I was shocked. The first time they were willing to do something special for me. I couldn't believe it, but I darn sure was excited. My 18th birthday was going to be something to remember. I started planning everything in my head, thinking about the guests, the decorations, the music. It was going to be my night, a night where, for once, I'd be the center of attention. There was one thing I was worried about, though: Mia. My sister has a way of making everything about herself. Anytime something good happens to me, she finds a way to ruin it or take the spotlight even. But for once, I wasn't too concerned. You see, Mia had a trip planned with her friends that same week. So I figured she was too busy to interfere with my birthday. She was going to be out of town, and I thought that meant that I'd be free from her drama for once. But then everything came crashing down. Just a day ago, Mia's trip got canceled. See, there was an issue with the flight or something, and suddenly she wasn't going anywhere. And just like that, she was furious. And I mean furious. I could see it in her eyes, the anger, the frustration. Mia hates not getting her way, and when she's unhappy, she makes sure everyone else is unhappy too. Well, that's exactly what she did. She stormed into the house, fuming, and screamed that if she could not go on her trip, then nobody could. Well, if I can't be happy, then she can't be either, she spat. And my parents, being the enablers that they've always been, agreed with her. They told me that the party is canceled. Just like that, no discussion, no compromise, it's just over. My once little chance to have something special, something for me, was taken away.
I couldn't believe it. I still can't. They told me to understand that throwing a party would make Mia feel worse about her canceled trip. They asked me to, quote, think about her feelings, as if Mia had ever once thought about mine, as if my entire life had not already been spent making a way for her happiness. And honestly, I'm furious out of my mind. This is why I'm here, trying to vent out my feelings to strangers on the internet. I've always put up with their crap and always stepped aside so Mia could have what she wanted. But this was too much. This birthday meant everything to me, and it was supposed to be the one day where I could finally feel important. Where I could feel like I mattered to my parents, but no. Mia had to throw a fit, and they caved like they always do. Now I'm sitting here wondering what exactly to do. Should I just confront them? Should I finally stand up for myself and tell them exactly how I feel? Or should I do something more drastic like go ahead with the party anyways? I don't know how to stand up to them. I've spent my entire life being the quiet, obedient daughter, the one who never causes trouble, the one who always lets Mia win. But now, I don't want to be that person anymore. I don't want to fight myself for once. I'm not asking for much. I just wanted one day where I could feel special. Is that so much to ask for? I just want to tell my parents how much they've hurt me and how much this entire situation has broken me. But part of me is scared that they won't even care. They'll just go about it, brushing it off like they always do, and tell me to be more understanding of Mia's feelings. It's always Mia, everything is about her, revolving around her, and I'm sick of it. But I don't know if I have the strength to make them see it. And then there's Mia. I know if I try to stand up to her, she'll throw another fit, and my parents will try to take her side again. It's always the same cycle. She gets what she wants, and I'm left with nothing. I don't want to be left with nothing this time. I want my birthday. I deserve it, don't I? But I'm stuck. Do I fight back, or do I just let it go? Like I've let everything else go over the years. Part of me wants to rebel to show them that I'm not just a background character in Mia's life. But part of me feels like it's just hopeless. Like no matter what I do, they'll never change. They'll never see me the way they see her. I really don't know what to do. Guys, that's why I'm here writing this, hoping someone can give me advice. Should I confront my parents? Should I go ahead with my party even if they don't support it? Should I just disappear for the day and let them realize what it feels like to not have me around? I'm so confused, and to be honest, I just feel lost. So, what do I do now? How do I make my parents see me just for once? How do I stand up to a sister who has always been the center of their world? How do I fight for something that feels so out of reach? I don't know if I'm strong enough to do it, but I know that if I don't, this cycle will just keep repeating, and I can't live like that. I just can't. Update number 1. Hey guys, it's June again. So it's been 4 days since my last update, and honestly, I wish I could say things have gotten better. I thought maybe, just maybe, after sharing my feelings, my parents would finally see things from my perspective. But who was I kidding? These people have been this way all my life, and how could I even think that a heart-to-heart conversation might even go about changing them? So basically, the day after my initial post, I mustered up the courage to talk to my parents. I really thought it would be different this time. But as soon as I brought up the party and how hurt I felt about Mia's tantrum being prioritized over my birthday, they launched into their usual family being family being about compromises talk. I just sat there feeling like a fool for even hoping things might change.
They were determined to brush off my feelings yet again, as if my pain was just an inconvenience to their perfect family narrative. I mean, after years of this, I should have known better than to expect any real change. Ugh, it's as if I'm invisible to them, and I'm starting to believe that nothing I say or do will ever make a difference. So I kept my mouth shut and waited for my uneventful birthday. So the day came, and the house was just as quiet as it always is. I was prepared for it to feel like any other day, just another reminder that I don't matter in this family. Yesterday was supposed to be the birthday party I dreamt about, but obviously there was no party, and it was just me feeling unwanted in this house as usual. But then something unexpected happened yesterday that changed the entire tone. If only for a moment my Aunt Leah, my mom's sister, showed up at our place. Well, gifts in her hands and a smile on her face, she's always been the brightest spot in my life, someone who really cared for me when I was growing up. My parents would often leave me with her when they went out and about to enjoy life with Mia, who of course was always the star of the show. It was nice to have someone who noticed me, someone who did not treat me like an afterthought. But you know what? You don't want to know the awkward part? My parents had forgotten to uninvite her from the party. It was supposed to be a big fun event, but now it was just a cancelled mess. My aunt was shocked to find no party going on. When she went to ask me what happened, I hesitated, but I finally told her the truth. It was because of Mia's tantrums and my parents' decision to cater to her again. What happened next was something that I'll simply never forget. My aunt's expression shifted from surprise to anger in an instant. My aunt has never gotten along with my parents much because she is the one person in the family who has called them out in their favoritism quite a few times. This is what has led to a few arguments between my aunt and parents sometimes, and that's exactly what happened yesterday. Well, my aunt, she started shouting at my parents about how unfair their favoritism had always been. It was like watching a superhero stand up for the underdog, and for a moment, I felt a little glimmer of hope that someone might finally make my parents see how damaging their behavior has become. Maya, of course, tried to throw her own tantrum, tears streaming down her face as if she were the one wronged here. But my aunt was having none of it. She called Mia out right there in front of everyone, telling her how her stupid tantrums would work on her so she could just save the tears and the acting. Well, that sure shut Mia up in a second. You know, I almost could not believe it. For the first time, I saw someone stand up to my sister, and it was absolutely glorious. My aunt did not back down until she had given my parents a serious warning to change their ways, promising them that if they did not, she wouldn't let them go easily. She also turned to me before leaving, telling me to call her if anything else happened. It felt really empowering to know that I had someone in my corner, someone who could see the truth even when my parents were blind to it. But you know, you would think this would have made my parents better, but no. If anything, they started treating me worse than ever. I can't even explain the atmosphere in the house now. It's suffocating. I'm currently locked in my room, trying to avoid any interaction with them at all. The tension is so thick, it's like walking on eggshells. It's honestly starting to take a whole toll on me. Well, I thought maybe I could use my aunt's confrontation as leverage to get my parents to understand my feelings, but instead it just seems to have fueled their resentment towards me. Now I'm left wondering whether I should reach out to my aunt. She's a pretty angry person by nature, and I can't help but think about how she would react if she found out how my parents are treating me right now. Would she storm out of here again? Would it make things worse for me at home? I don't want to cause more drama than there already is, but I also feel like I can't keep this bottled up a second longer. I'm just so confused, I'm overwhelmed. Part of me wants to tell my aunt everything and just let her take action. But another part of me is terrified of what that could mean for me already having a strained family dynamic. Should I risk it? Should I call her and let her know how bad things have gotten? I feel so trapped right now, and I really don't know what the right choice is. Any advice would be greatly appreciated, obviously, and I'll be waiting for it. Thank you. Update number 2. Hey guys, I'm back. So yes, it's me, June. Here we are again. And let me tell you, things have taken a pretty chaotic turn over the last 2 days. I didn't even need to reach out to my aunt after all, because my stupid sister Mia took it upon herself to do that, and now she's just set the whole family up for disaster. Let me tell you. I knew things were bad, but I didn't think they'd get out of this control so quickly. Since my birthday, Mia has been throwing the biggest tantrum I've ever seen, claiming that any aunt, humiliated her, and she's been going on about how my aunt needs to apologize to her, or that my parents should cut contact with my aunt completely, right now. And guess what? My parents, being the enablers that I've told you about so many times, actually agreed to have a conversation with my aunt, thinking they could convince her to apologize to Mia. I can't even wrap my head around how naive that they are. Did they really believe my aunt would back down after everything that happened? So, my aunt showed up, and things escalated from there. It was yet another heated argument, one that felt like it was going to blow the roof off our home. My aunt did not hold back this time. She gave my parents a piece of her mind about how they still hadn't stopped enabling Mia's behavior. She reminded them that she had already warned them about this, and that they were fully responsible for whatever consequences followed. Honestly, it was pretty darn satisfying to see my aunt stand up for me again, but my parents, they brushed her off like she was just an annoying fly buzzing around. They're so deep in their denial that they can't even see how damaging their actions are, not just to me but to Mia as well. They think that they're protecting her by giving into her tantrums, but all they're doing is just raising a spoiled brat. It's frustrating and it's infuriating. Before my aunt left, she pulled me aside and whispered that she needed a few days to get something in order. But after that, I could move in with her away from this toxic family. Just hearing those words felt like a weight lifted off of my chest. I don't know what my aunt is planning, but I'm sure whatever it is, my parents are going to learn a lesson. I can't wait to move in with her and finally escape the nightmare of a home life. But here's the thing. As excited as I am about the possibility of moving, I can't help but feel anxious. What exactly is my aunt planning? Will there be more drama? Part of me wants to shield myself from whatever fallout might come next, but another part of me just can't wait to break free from the constant suffocation of my current situation. I've spent so long being treated like I don't matter that the idea of living with someone who actually cares for me feels so real. My aunt has always been that supportive presence in my life, and the thought of having a place where I can finally be seen and appreciated, that's exciting. But I always worry about the repercussions for my aunt and what kind of war this could start within my family even. It's just so hard to find a balance between hope and anxiety. I want to believe that moving in with my aunt is the right step for me, but I'm terrified of how my parents will react to this. They've been in denial for so long that they might try to pull something drastic to keep me here. I just wish things could settle down a bit so that I could think more clearly. I feel like I'm on the brink of a significant change, but I'm also aware that changes like this can come with an unexpected consequence. Guys, it's a lot to process. I'm just trying to navigate this without losing my mind. Update number 3. Hey guys, it's me. I'm back for a final update. It's June. You won't believe what happened since my last one. Seriously, you might think I'm making this up, but I promise you it's all true. I know a lot of you were waiting, and it's been just a few weeks' time. But believe me, you won't be disappointed by what actually happened in the past few weeks. Remember how my aunt mentioned she needed to take care of some things? Well, she taught my parents the best lesson that they could ever learn, and I'm so glad I finally got out of that toxic environment. I'm happy to tell you that I'm writing this from a peaceful corner in my aunt's house. Yes, I moved in with her, and those chaotic days with my family are way behind me. It's like I can finally breathe again, and I can't even describe how much lighter I feel. But let me just take you through a wild ride that led me here. So here's what happened. My parents must have forgotten that the house they were living in actually belonged to my aunt. It was a gift from my maternal grandfather to both his daughters, but since my aunt was the older one, the deed was in her name. When my parents got it together, my aunt had to move out due to her business, allowing my mom and dad to settle in. My aunt never mentioned taking the house back because she was just okay with them living there. At least, she was. Until recently. Within a week after my last update, my aunt sent an eviction notice to my parents. Yeah, I kid you not. She also texted me to get my bags packed because she was coming to get me the very next day. I was full of mix of excitement and nervousness, to be honest. Part of me felt guilty about the situation, but honestly, I knew I deserved better than how they've been treating me. The next day was absolute chaos. You know, my parents, they were absolutely ballistic, shouting at my aunt for doing this, but she stood firm. It was amazing to watch. She told them that if they did not vacate the place in 2 days, she would call the cops. I could hardly contain my laughter at their shock and outrage. They were finally facing consequences for their years of neglectful behavior. And soon after that, I moved in with my aunt and my parents had to leave the house. My aunt instantly put the place for sale as she already had an amazing house. But hold on. That's not even half of it. Before I left the house for good, I made a bold decision. I posted something on my social media, evidence of how my parents had been treating me all this time. Yes, I've been recording everything since my birthday, and the way they mistreated me, the way they pampered Mia, and how she threw those aggressive tantrums, throwing things around and crying. I decided that it was time for the world to see what was really going on. Let me tell you, the post blew up. It spread like wildfire, straight viral, not just among family and friends, but also among my sister's workplace. Mia had been working at a daycare, but after my post went viral, people refused to leave their children with someone so volatile. Can you believe it? I can. The daycare had no choice but to let her go. Fired, baby. Now, my sister is completely dependent on my parents, and I can only imagine how that's going for her. Well, get this. To top it all off, I've heard that they're all living in a cramped studio apartment now, far from the lovely house that they once had. They've been shunned by relatives who were once in their corner, and can you blame them? News travels fast in a family like ours, and people don't take kindly to mistreatment, especially when it's exposed for everyone to see. From what I heard, my parents and Mia are now even fighting with each other, as my parents are blaming her for everything that's happened in their current condition. I can't say I feel sorry for them at all. It's their favorite child who led them here, not me. So that's all on them and their golden child, right? Anyways, as for me, I'm happily living with my aunt, and it feels like nothing more than a fresh breath of air.